And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Atlanta Falcons, Jay Feely for the most famous words in motorsports.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
The green flag for the EasyCare Vehicle Service Contracts 200 is just around the corner. Everyone getting comfortable in the trucks. We'll be back for the start. And welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, the first time the trucks have ever graced the high banks here in Atlanta. Let's take a look at the U.S. Army starting grid. Few drivers, the 52 Federated Auto Parts of Ken Schrader riding along with him today. Last year's champion, the 24 Line-X Toyota of Travis Quapple, will also carry us around the track. Dennis Setzer in the Chevy Silverado, number 46, finished second in the point standings a year ago, will take us around the track as well. And we will have a very good look at the green flag that will be thrown, because David Rudiman will also carry one of our cameras with him today in the 17, and he starts on the pole.
Any surprise to see the DWstore.com on the dash of Darrell's truck? We hear a lot about that, don't we?
No surprise. Craftsman win from the pole award can be won by David Rudiman. If he wins today, he can claim $4,000 for his team. If he doesn't win from the pole today, then another $2,000 will again be added to the prize money. The purse will grow in increments of $2,000 until someone wins the award. There are $50,000 available to the teams this season. There's our pole owner, Darrell Waltrip.
Living life large right now. He's got his truck on the pole. He's down in the pit. Running the show, I bet, Phil.
I would imagine so.
We're also going to try to talk to some of the drivers today that we're riding with.
Let's check in with Kenny Schrader. Hey, Kenny, it's Michael up in the Speed Channel booth. Can you read me, brother?
Yes, sir. I hear you good, Mikey.
You got a good starting spot. You won in this series back in '95. You've won here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. How was the truck in happy hour, and what are your expectations? To win, I guess?
Well, that's definitely what we're shooting for. The little Federated truck was pretty good in happy hour. Didn't get that big arrow push behind some of the other trucks, so learned a little bit with the Cup car this morning. Wish we'd had time to put that underneath it, but I'm still thinking we got a good truck here, Mikey.
Well, we certainly hope so. The track is going to be the first time any of these cats have been here. You have experience here. You going to go to the top or try to ring the bottom? You got a plan yet?
I'm just going to try to go where they're not, but I think everyone's going to be all over the place. So I think the Craftsman trucks ought to put on one heck of a good show here at Atlanta.
Well, also, congratulations on tomorrow. You're going to make your 600th start. That means you've done this a while, huh?
Yeah, you're right there real close to me, you know. I just wound up being a lot older than you. I don't know how that happened, but not near as old as your brother.
Well, good luck. Have a good day. I think Wendy's with my brother, so we're going to hear what he has to say. Good luck, Schrader.
Thank you, guys.
I am, Michael. Here's Daryl. Are you excited? Your truck's on the pole.
Oh, I couldn't be happier for Toyota and for Darrell Waltrip Motorsports, Bobby Kennedy, Jason Overstreet, the whole crowd. And look at that grandstand. You think that Toyota isn't good for the Truck Series? I think it's going to be a great year, the best year that they've ever had in the Truck Series. I'm just excited to be a part of it.
All right. Thanks, Daryl.
NTN bearings, number 17 of David Rudiman, claiming his first pole. That's actually the 5th pole for Darrell Waltrip Motorsports, though. So he's not a stranger to having a pole as an owner.
That's the quickest any guy's ever won the pole, though, right? 2 races for Rudiman. That's pretty cool.
That's right. Just 2 starts for David Rudiman before he claims his first pole.
Now, we got a couple of rookies on the front row here, Rick, and I guarantee you there's veterans in the back of the field that are considering that. You know, when you go down in the corner on the inside like Rudiman will be next to that truck outside of him, his truck might get loose. So there's going to be a lot of people making sure that the start goes off cleanly.
And, Michael, we have Mike Skinner with a lot of experience on the outside of row 2. He's not afraid to go right to the top of the racetrack either.
Yeah,
you got it cleaned off for him?
Yeah, we cleaned it up a little bit, but also Skinner's not afraid to stick it in there, make it 3 wide, and let those guys worry about whether they control their trucks or not. He's going to take care of himself. He'll go for the lead on the first lap, I guarantee it.
Ray, what's going on?
Guys, I did a little research on this 1.5-mile deal. When you look across the series here, you know, there have been a lot of races, but just a couple of guys really stand out on these 1.5-mile tracks. One of them is Jack Sprague, but another one is certainly Ted Musgrave in the Mopar Dodge. He's won at Vegas, he's won at Homestead, and he's won at Charlotte. But guess what? Today, he will roll off 21st. I asked Ted earlier today, can you get to the front? He said, we think our trucks have a lot more drag than those Toyotas, but today during the race, that might not be such a bad thing. So Ted Musgrave believes he's good enough to get his way to the front. We'll keep our eye on that Mopar Dodge.
36 trucks making their way through turns 3 and 4. That pace truck out in front, Michael Dolan, will pull it down pit road. And we're about to get underway with the first ever truck race at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
There's the green flag. She bang, she bang, she bang. Anything?
She bang?
And they're hoping that he's not banging right now. David Rudiman jumps to the point and stays right behind. Carl Edwards is holding on to his tailgate right now.
Good start for the inside row, for sure. It took away any question of them going 3 wide with Rudiman and Carl getting such a good jump.
A couple Toyotas hooked up there on the outside in 3rd and 4th.
Leading the first lap, David Rudiman will claim 5 points for taking the first lap at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Matt Crafton's jumped up now in the 4th position.
An amazing thing happened, I guess, in qualifying with Toyotas. We talked about it a little bit in the open. 5 Toyotas up front as far as the top 6 positions.
But Phil, this is a track that you can run wide open around. So aerodynamically, being on the pole could be good or it could be bad. If you've got a lot of drag, that's going to pay off 10 or 15 laps into a run. We might see the manufacturers kind of switch spots. Some of the guys in the Toyotas might not have the setup to run the long run because of maybe not as much downforce that we see on some of the other mates.
You know, and I talked to Bobby Kennedy. I said, is this your Daytona truck? He said, no, this is our high downforce intermediate truck here. Carl Edwards, on the other hand, they slapped new sides on this truck, and now that's his exact same truck he ran Daytona with new sides. So as you mentioned, I would be surprised to see these guys starting up front, staying up there throughout this run.
It'll really be interesting to see how it plays out. But another thing, Phil, the groove changes so much. They ran right around the bottom when they qualified yesterday. They'll be up against the wall. You can see right here, I knew the first cat up there would be Bobby Hamilton. And not only is he up there, he's going to town up there. He's making moves and coming to the front.
He was one of the only drivers on the top of the racetrack in practice, happy hour practice last night. And now there's more rubber up there because you guys have had 2 Nextel Cup practices this morning. So the groove is there.
I really think if you watch the Nextel Cup race tomorrow, you'll see something similar to this. You'll see guys running around the bottom. You'll see guys running up top. It'll be interesting to see throughout the day what line proves to be the winning line.
talked to Bobby Hamilton's crew chief, Danny Rollins, right before the race. He said, hey, I think that Bobby Hamilton will try to get up there and lead as soon as he can, try to get those 5 bonus points, and then maybe ride. And he's making some tremendous moves. He's already up into the 6th position. Now look at him go on the outside, making it 3 wide.
Does Matt know he's there? Oh.
Travis Kvapil on the inside, charging through the field already. As he goes across the start-finish line, currently in 4th position. And again, he finished 2nd at Daytona, very close to claiming that spot.
You're clear all around.
Another real fast truck is Travis Kvapil. You see him in the yellow truck. He just can't clear Matt Crafton down on the inside. That's something that's very difficult to do, Phil, is to get on the bottom like you see Skinner here underneath Carl and finish that pass, because there's more grip up top. You take away the exit of the corner from the truck on the bottom. It's difficult to complete a pass here at Atlanta.
He may be a lot faster than Carl Edwards, but as you mentioned, he's not able to use the entire racetrack to be able to move up in front of him and complete that pass. But look at Bobby Hamilton. He's got some fresh racetrack up there too.
He found somewhere where they ain't running. You know, like in baseball, you're supposed to hit them where they're not. Well, Bobby's going where they're not.
Bobby Hamilton passing on the high side, moves up into 2nd. Mike Skinner on the low side of the track holding on to 3rd. And Carl Edwards now dropping back to 4th position. A guy moving up, though, is the 62 of Steve Park. He started 27th, currently shown as 16th on the running list.
As we heard him say, he was very, very confident in this truck in the race configuration.
Me all around the place.
Shredder's not happy with his truck. You could hear him talking there.
Here's the pass for the lead. Bobby Hamilton on the inside of David Rudiman.
I don't know. Rudiman hasn't been up top. You see there, he just let Bobby go to get back to the bottom. He hasn't run up top a lot, so he's not comfortable with that. This is a rookie, Phil. Let's remember that. This cat hadn't driven here before and hasn't driven but one other truck race. So it's all new to him. He's just trying to suck it all in, learn, and be patient and be around at the end.
And if he sees Bobby Hamilton in the Square D Dodge right there on the outside, you see him, that truck right ahead of him. If he sees him doing that and drive away from him, he's going to have to try that top group.
He will, and he'll like it too. Rudiman's a driver. He can get it done, and he'll move up top, and he'll like what he feels.
Another veteran making the move. Mike Skinner now on the bottom of the track getting by Rudiman.
Man, the opening happened so fast I didn't get to say it, but I was going to stick my neck out and say a veteran would win this race. This track's crazy, and so far I would look like I knew what I was talking about if I had said it.
And not just because this is the first time these drivers have been here at Atlanta, but experience really pays off on a racetrack like this when you lose a lot of grip.
Well, just like you said, Phil, like I said in the opening, you're fast and then you're struggling for grip. You know, you got to know how to do both, and sometimes the rookie can't latch on to both things the first time he sees the place.
The first practice here we had yesterday, veterans were fastest early on, but then the rookies learned very quickly and moved up. The veterans are up front right now in Atlanta.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. One casualty already in our 200-mile race today. The 75 Spear Chevrolet of David Starr has broken an engine. They just pulled in. They lifted the hood to check. He thought maybe they had an ignition problem, but they said there is definitely oil dripping out of the oil pan. So they're going to go behind the wall and check on it. But it appears that David Starr is already done for the day. The first one out here at Atlanta.
Another thing that's being checked on right now, they're looking at Jack Sprague's window net.
No, they're not.
See if he has a problem, and obviously he does.
They're not looking at his window net because it isn't in there. He'll have to pit. They'll black flag him for that.
So more than likely, that's a human error. That somebody did not put the window net in properly. We've seen that happen before. We saw that happen to Ted Musgrave at Darlington a couple years ago, and may very well have cost him the championship.
15 laps. It'll be interesting to see if they just come in and buckle that net up, Phil, or if they decide to put tires on it. You know, the trucks have already slowed down close to a second.
The problem is, Michael, when they get here on Thursday, they're only allowed 4 sets of tires to do all the practice, qualifying, and the race. So if they put a set of tires on now at 15 laps, and they've already ruined 1 set of tires through practice, they would only have 2 more sets of tires for 115 more laps.
Ray?
Well, guys, basically what everyone in the pit area has told me, they really needed to get to lap 19 or 20 so that they'd be in the fuel window to make it on just 1 more stop. So this would be very, very close. And most of the guys from the Chevrolets said that they didn't think they could do that. They're looking at a possible 52 to 53 laps on the fuel mileage here. So they really wanted to see lap 20 before they ever pitted. He comes in on 16. I don't think they can make it.
they're not going to take tires because of what Phil said. You know, you'll be out in a hurry. But if I was going to pit on lap 20 and fill up and put tires on, I believe under green, unscheduled stop at lap 16, I'd have done it.
I think I would have too, because you need that speed. You need to have something to change your luck here and get going. So he could go out there and run maybe as much as a second faster than some of these other trucks for a few laps anyway.
And the stop was going to be lengthy while they put up the net, so maybe it would have been worthwhile. We'll see how all that plays out. Bobby Hamilton's ringing the top of the racetrack. Mike Skinner, on the other hand, has been running a little bit lower, but I've noticed he's creeped up the track, but not able to match the speed of Bobby Hamilton so far.
Another veteran that's doing very well, Ted Musgrave, all the way up to, I believe, 7th position now.
Another driver right up at the top of the racetrack. Seems like all the drivers with a lot of experience here at Atlanta have moved up to the racetrack.
Here's our biggest mover, Steve Park, started 27th, currently in 12th position. Ted Musgrave in 7th. Bobby Hamilton started 12th, leading the race.
Check out Park, though, right down on the white line. Now that's the best scenario, Phil. If you can make your truck work down there, it's easier to drive down there. You follow the white line around the corner, you're not an inch away from a wall you might hit, so you're a lot more comfortable doing that. But sometimes the top of the track's faster. Wendy, what do you got?
Well, when we talked to Steve Park this morning before the race, he said he's probably the only truck that can be held wide open for 30-some laps. So he was pretty optimistic about the race. He said we didn't come here to win qualifying, so he didn't care about it. He said we came here to win the race.
Now, when Wendy mentions that about holding it wide open, are they running a different gear that he can run it wide open and nobody else can?
I think he thinks he has enough downforce, and that's what slows him down. He ran his truck wide open in qualifying, and he qualified all the way back in 27th position, and he was wide open, he told me. So he's got so much downforce built into the body of this truck, and that's why he can run wide open for long periods of time. And if he can continue to do that, Michael, he will make his way to the front.
Well, you remember Brendan at Texas. He would always come on strong at the end of those races, in the end of runs, and then just drive away from people. So certainly the way Steve's running right around the bottom of the racetrack, you got to believe that truck does have a lot of downforce to get the job done like he's doing it right now. Now this is
along with Ken Schrader. We look back at Rick Crawford in the 14.
Remember, Rick Crawford started all the way back at the back, as you mentioned, Michael, and he's making some great moves there all the way up into the top 20.
And you can see Schrader struggling. He started up in the top 10, and now he's falling back through the field. So he's concerned right now. Would like to get some like to get a caution, get a chance to work on that little Chevy, I guarantee you.
Leaders coming into traffic. Bobby Hamilton still out in front of inaugural series winner Mike Skinner, and last year's series winner Travis Quapple in 3rd. Speed Channel's popular news show Pitbull is live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Join Steve Burns from the traveling stage truck with riders Ben Blake, David Poole, Mike Mulhern, and Marty Smith for their take on the NASCAR series. It's all NASCAR talk, and these guys will let their thoughts and opinions fly on the hottest topics. Tonight, 6:30 p.m. on Speed Channel. Take a look at our leader, Bobby Hamilton, running along the top of the track. Now, it hasn't been smooth sailing for him. Let's take a look back a couple laps earlier.
Bobby's been running the top of the racetrack from the very start. There he tries to go around Joey Clanton, the 40 truck. Joey slides up there. He didn't intentionally go up there to block Bobby, but his truck slid up there. Bobby made a little contact, but I have not seen any smoke since then. So I think he's seems to be okay, and Bobby's still maintaining an extremely fast pace.
And it doesn't look like that any damage was done to the left front of that truck right there, but that would be very, very devastating to the handling of that truck if indeed it caved in that left front. You need all the front downforce you can get here at Atlanta to get the thing to turn.
And Bobby knows about having downforce messed up, because you remember a month ago at Daytona, he got into a scrape, and he spent about, what, 50, 60 times on pit road, and the guys really work on the truck, got him back into a top 15 finish. I think he finished 11th at Daytona, and that could be extremely critical when we get down towards the end of the season in the points.
I've never seen a better job by a team during a race. Those guys did it on that night in Daytona, and I bet you they're sitting there saying, man, this is pretty easy today. We're driving away from these cats.
Bobby Hamilton actually bought those guys, catered lunch for them, said, you guys worked so hard, you did everything you could do to keep me out there. So took care of their lunch for him. Good battle here for 6. Ted Musgrave moving up through the field. And Matt Crafton trying to hold him off in that Goodwrench number 6.
We heard that 12 more laps. I think that was that Musgrave's spotter saying, or crew chief saying that we had 12 more laps, and they've only run 30 laps, so they're only going to go 42 laps. We've heard some of these drivers and teams think they could go over 60 laps.
And I guarantee you there'll be a very wide variance in who goes how long, depending on how the trucks are handling. You know, that'll play a factor into the decision.
How important will it be to pit with somebody else, or is it important?
It's not important at all. In fact, probably the opposite. You want to make sure you got a clean pit road, a clean entrance to pit road, so you can get on and off of pit road, and you don't want anybody in the box before you or after you that might mess up the timing of the pit stop. You want to do everything you can to have a free, clean trip down pit road.
Unlike Daytona, where drafting is so critical and having a partner, you don't rely that much on the draft here. Yeah, the draft is effective, but when you see these drivers, as you see Ted Musgrave, the 1 truck, Shane Meal in the 15 truck, they're 40 feet apart width-wise, so that drafting is not that critical here at Atlanta. Chassis is critical here at Atlanta.
Matt Crafton, you can see there, is battling alongside Shane Meal and Musgrave. Shane's doing a nice job. That's DEI power under the hood, so I can attest that he has something when he steps his right foot down.
Gary Showalter, crew chief on that truck, been around a long time, has had a lot of success in this series and doing a terrific job with Bill Billoo's number 15 truck.
Look at Shane right down on the bottom of the racetrack. I like a truck that'll work around the bottom. I think that's the best way to go, although Bobby Hamilton is driving away on the top. If there's a short run at the end of the race, that bottom truck's going to have an advantage.
Michael, you never run the bottom of the racetrack. You're always the first one at the top of the racetrack.
Well, I really want to be at the bottom. I just can't get it to work down there, so I have to go where it'll go, you know.
Ted Musgrave out in front now of Matt Crafton as Crafton tries to get by Stedman Marlin, the 67. Running away from the field, Bobby Hamilton running very well out there.
Check it out. We saw Shane Mill right on the bottom, Bobby right on the top. Let's figure out where old Travis decides to go.
Right in the middle.
He wound up at the top. He stayed in the middle for a while.
Travis Kvapil.
3250. Leaders run 3270.
John Wood in for service. John currently shown in 29th position.
That's pretty early, especially for a Roush Ford, because they're the teams that really get the best fuel mileage, it seems like, on the circuit. So they obviously wanted to work on that truck and make the handling better. It wasn't a fuel issue at all.
Now he's just going to pray that the caution doesn't come out. He does not need a caution right now. To put him so far behind the 8 ball, he'll never get out from it.
Mike Skinner currently 2.5 seconds behind our leader. Wendy, what's going on with him?
Well, yeah, Mike Skinner's really eager on the radio. He is bad loose, though. Crew Chief Rick Wren says, just hang in there, be easy, be easy. And he said, we'll get you fixed. They're also running a little hot, so they're going to take some tape off in their next pit stop. But it could be that experience paying off for Mike Skinner in 12 Cup starts. He's got 5 top 10 finishes.
Mike Skinner, an impressive NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series career. You see the 16 wins of Mike Skinner. He dominated the series in its inaugural season.
Look at him. Working his way through traffic. That's when you have to have a lot of trust in your fellow competitors. You just want them to hold their lines, you know, keep going straight so I can pick my way around you.
See that white truck on the inside? That's John Wood. He just was in the pits, put 4 tires on. He may have an engine problem or something like that, because he should be able to blow by these guys. He's obviously off the pace.
Travis Kvapil moving by the 16 of Jack Sprague. Teammates a year ago. Travis Kvapil now moving to 3rd.
You got back to Atlanta Motor Speedway just in time to see our leader, Bobby Hamilton, heading down pit road. He brings his Square D Dodge down. Now you'll notice there's a big pile of a bag or something on the front of his nose. He said they needed tape off, but there was a bag there. These guys are going to go to work and try to tighten him up just a little bit. He said he's been pretty happy with it, but let's put some air pressure in that right front. The guy goes to work. They got the right sides done. Come around to the left. Once they get that screen cleaned off, Hamilton's water temperature should be much better, and they've got it done. He goes back to the racetrack.
Now this will force the hand of all the other competitors, Rick. Bobby came to pit road first. He's the leader of the race. They can't afford to let the leader run around on new tires while they slide around on old ones. So pit road is fixing to become a very busy place over the next couple of laps.
We've heard a couple drivers talk about the fact that they thought they could go halfway. Now, will they stay out there? I don't think they can afford to stay out there. As you mentioned, Bobby, with fresh tires, they cannot afford to stay out there and run a second and a half a lap slower than Bobby and hope to get a caution at halfway.
He'll have them buried, and then it won't matter what caution they get. They won't be able to make up what he gains on them.
Bobby Hamilton started the race, the third lap, his fastest lap. So when he comes in, into the wall in turn 3.
It's Rick Crawford right there.
Golly. And a
the
couple
whole
more
front end off of that number 14.
A couple more trucks on the back.
Tina Gordon.
That's a bad crash.
13. So our first caution comes out at lap 45. Rick Crawford sliding into the infield.
His throttle's hung.
Throttle's hung. We caught a glimpse of Hank Parker Jr. in the 21 Toyota also.
And if his throttle's hung and he's not shutting it off,
his tires are not moving now.
Just stopped right now.
Just got her shut down.
Look at that! Look how quick that safety crew is there already.
That was a terrible crash.
Now you see why we don't race back to the flag anymore. That safety crew was there immediately.
That's why no matter what controversy comes out of caution flags falling in the middle of pit stops, racing back to the flag is a thing of the past, and we're all happy about that. They're right there tending to Rick.
Also tending to Tina Gordon on the backstretch.
There's another truck on the inside of the backstretch.
That might have been Hank Parker Jr. I caught a glimpse of the 21 truck on the inside of the backstretch.
We saw this truck right along the wall. You had mentioned the throttle sticking. He moved back into the infield.
That is Hank Parker Jr. right there, the Sports Clips Toyota.
And Hank's out of, you see Hank now out of the truck, but the safety crew's attending to him.
You talked earlier in the open of the show, Michael, that this is a fast racetrack, and when you hit something here, you hit it hard. That was a major crash right here.
We'll come back to Atlanta Motor Speedway and give you all the updates on everyone involved. The EasyCare Vehicle Service Contracts 200, 46 laps underway. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are under caution number 1. There were 3 trucks involved in an accident. Tina Gordon got a little bit sideways, and then Rick Crawford, and you see Tina Gordon 13 right there, loaded on the hauler. But the other truck that was involved was the 21 of Hank Parker Jr. Now we've seen Rick Crawford and Tina Gordon get out of their trucks. We've seen Hank Parker Jr. get out of his truck, but they're still attesting to Hank Parker Jr. right now.
He got out and laid down, so I think we're going to go red here so that they can attend to Hank.
Let's look back at how this all happened.
Up off turn 2. You'll see Tina Gordon get sideways exiting the corner. Does a nice job of not spinning out, but just can't ever control the truck, Phil.
Never can catch up to it. Now she's got the brakes locked up to try to stop that truck, but she stops in the middle of the racetrack. There comes Rick Crawford right behind Dennis Setzer in the 46 truck. Could not see her, never saw her. Clipped her, turned her in front of Hank Parker Jr., who made severe contact on the inside, and it kind of slid down to the inside wall.
And Hank would have missed her had Rick not hit her, but Rick hit her, bounced her over in front of Hank, and then Hank just took a terrible shot head on right into the left front corner of Tina's truck. You can see there.
Whoa, and you could hear it too.
See, Rick couldn't see. Rick was right behind another truck. He peeked out behind the other truck to see what was going on. Boom, there's that Tina.
That's Dennis Setzer, the black truck. He gets by, and then Rick comes along. He was just peeking out to take a look and made some hard contact. And that turned her towards the inside of the racetrack where Hank Jr. was, and he made some hard contact.
Nice.
Take a look at what happens to Rick Crawford.
Whoa, he hit the outside wall there. Gosh, his throttle's hung because by the time he got into the infield, his tires were still spinning. So right now, I think his throttle's completely hung, and he's certainly dazed, if not knocked out, Michael.
It's just you're going so fast. I mean, he wrecked over there in the middle of the back straightaway. He's clobbered the wall since then, and just now comes to a stop on the front straightaway. That's how bad the wreck was.
The red flag has just come out. Dennis James showing the field the red flag, so the trucks will come to a stop in turn number 1. We're going to head off to break. We'll be back to let you know how all of the participants in this first caution are doing. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Red flag has come out, and so the trucks have come to a stop in turn number 1. Let's take a look at how this caution happened and why we're under red flag conditions.
We're looking up the back straightaway, Rick, at turn 2, where the safety workers are cleaning up the mess that was caused when Tina Gordon lost control of her truck exiting 2. Did a nice job saving it, but then just couldn't hang on to it. And watch Rick Crawford. He just doesn't see what's going on. He's getting ready to run into the back of the truck. Setzer, the truck he was following, he peeked out not to do that. And Tina was there. Check him out.
Another shot of it there. You see Dennis Setzer, the black truck, get by. Rick peeks out, just catches Tina with a left front corner of his Ford. And man, then Hank Parker Jr. hits her very hard in the left front of her truck, and it sends him into the inside wall.
Look at the damage on the front of that truck. I mean, it's caved in back past the front tires.
You could hear it from that speed shot there when Rick Crawford. Watch him. He's just gonna peek out here.
I think maybe he was going faster than Dennis and maybe turned a little bit to avoid Dennis, and I'll be darned if Tina wasn't sitting there.
Boy, oh boy, that was a hard hit.
And how fast was Rick Crawford going? 185 miles an hour coming out of there?
Fast.
175 miles an hour anyway.
Look at that. That's after he's already hit her, just pounding the outside wall up in turns 3 and 4. Look at that truck. There's nothing left to the front of it.
That lick there, Michael, probably hurt more than the initial lick, because at least when he hit another vehicle, it turned her around and everything, so it absorbed some of the energy. Nothing absorbed the energy there but Rick's body.
And plus, he was probably dazed after hitting her and wasn't holding on as hard as he might have been had he have known what was going on exactly. You can see the trucks there up in the banking, turn 1 and 2. They set up high like that, so in case their battery won't crank their truck up, they just roll down the hill and get on the way.
We're still under red flag conditions at Atlanta. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. The trucks are again rolling. We are under caution now. Those involved in the crash, Tina Gordon, Rick Crawford, and Hank Parker Jr. We are still awaiting word from the Infield Care Center as far as the condition of those drivers.
I think sometimes when you're sitting watching on TV, you lose sense of how fast these trucks are traveling around this racetrack. And Hank's hit was vicious, and just hope he's okay. Ray, what's going on in the pits?
Well, we're ready for pit stops here, Michael, and as we see, Mike Skinner will be the first one. Skinner will be at the bottom of your triple pit there as he brings his Toyota in. Skinner was talking about being a little bit tight off of the center and a little bit tight off also, so they want to do their adjustments with air pressure. We also saw a round of wedge go there. In the middle, you see the number 24, Travis Quapple. Travis was saying he's really good at the bottom, but he wasn't able to run the high line at all, so they're going to make air pressure adjustments also. For Carl Edwards, the driver you see at the bottom of your screen in the number 99, he has been saying he was very free in the center, so they'll take a pound out of the right rear. And as those guys leave the pits here, we see that looks like the first guy off is going to be Skinner. And we've got to sort out this thing about Bobby Hamilton. We'll get back to you as quick as we can to figure out where he's going to line up here after they award the lucky dog.
Very close between the 24 and Dennis Setzer came in right in front of Travis Quapple. Maybe there could have been contact there.
Always tough on pit road. These drivers are trying to get out as fast as they can. They're trying to get in. It's really up to the crew chiefs and the spotter to keep these things from happening on pit road.
Let's take a look at Travis exiting pit road right now.
Whoa, stop. Oh, that was damage. You see the plastic fly off the front of that truck. They'll have to come back in and fix that, Phil. I bet you there's a hole in the front of that truck.
He's got some damage on the right side of his truck, too. He's slapped the wall somewhere.
I think he hit the wall just before the big crash that brought us to this caution.
On board with Travis now.
Oh, there's just a lack of communication there. You know, the crew chief's responsibility, the spotter, the driver, somebody's got to know that cat's coming. It's obvious that he was on his way. We got to avoid things like that on pit road.
They have to look back up pit road and say, hey, here comes the 46 in. We know the 46 is pitting right in front of us. Wait till he gets in his pit to take off, and you wouldn't have had the damage he has now on the right front corner.
Brandon Witt having problems on pit road. He comes to a stop.
Man, all of a sudden everything's going nuts.
Cure autism now, number 38. Looks like he just fired up there.
On his way.
You know, we talked about how Bobby Hamilton pitting early could have been such a big benefit to him. The worst possible thing happened to Bobby Hamilton. The caution came out 2 laps after he pitted. What do you have down there, Ray?
Well, I'm with his crew chief, Danny Rollins. Danny, have they told you where you're going to be yet? Do you know where you're going to line up?
No, not yet, but we're thinking, you know, it's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap. We're not real sure. They're saying they're having to check the scoring cards right now, and they're going to let us know. But right now they're showing us sitting in second, first truck a lap down. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, we have to give them a little bit of time.
Were you surprised you pitted so early, or was that planned?
Well, I mean, we was real close to the window, but the oil temp got up real high. And when we come in, the good thing we come in, we had a plastic bag covering the whole grill, so it was puking some water out. So we kind of got lucky by pitting that early, but then again, it kind of caught us bad too.
Okay, well, there's lots more racing to go here at Atlanta, so we will see if Bobby Hamilton is able to get his Square D Dodge back up there and recover from pitting a little bit too other. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow, the world's best drivers take to the track on Fox for the Golden Corral 500 from right here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. with a pre-race show from the Hollywood Hotel with Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond. Can Matt Kenseth make it 3 races in a row? Well, I think Michael will have something to say about that. Tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. for all your NASCAR Nextel Cup racing on Fox. Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR in our Nextel Cup update. Matt Kenseth sits atop the points list. Tony Stewart in second. Casey Kane on the rise in 8th, currently in the points, but he's been one of the hot drivers in the Nextel Cup.
Casey Mears having a great year so far in the top 10 in points. Had a terrific run out in Vegas.
And a great weekend here. He was fast in qualifying and second quickest in the final practice today. So that team has made a big turnaround in 2004 and looked to be contenders.
There's Bobby Hamilton, the Square D Dodge, number 4. He is on the tail end of the lead lap.
That's the leader right behind him, Phil. If he can just scoot away from there and have the caution fly, that puts him back on the lead lap, back onto the back of the field. Folks at home, it might be kind of hard to understand, but he's only a lap down, or he's not quite a lap down, but if the 42 passes him, he will be a lap down. So he's got to do everything he can to stay ahead of all these guys.
Well, he's almost 1.5 miles behind right now. But the important thing is he is in front of that leader. And if, as you mentioned, if he catches a caution, he's able to drive all the way back around the racetrack.
Green flag flies. Mike Skinner's your leader. Bobby Hamilton leads the field, though, as he's on the tail end of the lead lap going into turn 1.
Another important factor is he's got a fast truck. So he figures to get this lap back if things work out. But Skinner has something to say about that. He's looking to the bottom already.
And he knows that Bobby Hamilton has a fast truck. If he could keep him a lap down, he would love it. But, you know, we have the lucky dog, too, so he doesn't necessarily have to stay in front of Mike Skinner, as Mike Skinner is passing him right now. But if he stays there, he's the first truck 1 lap down. If the caution comes out, he will get the lucky dog and be back in the lead lap, just like he was ahead of him.
And that's like I talked earlier, Phil. A truck that works on the bottom will beat a truck that works on the top on the short run. So I like my truck to work on the bottom if I'm these guys, in case there's a sprint to the end of the race. We see so many green, white checkers in this series, so many short runs to the end of the race. Having a truck that works on the bottom might be an advantage. When I say all that, Bobby Hamilton drives around the outside of Skinner. But here comes Skinner back, defending my honor.
Side by side right now. That's not for the lead. Remember, Bobby Hamilton is on the tail end of the lead lap. Mike Skinner's trying to put him a lap down. He is our leader, the 42 Toyota Tundra.
Dennis Setzer, we're on board with Dennis as he gets into a little traffic. Ted Musgrave on the inside of him. You see the Dickies Dodge up front left. And he's trying to get by Joey Clanton in the 40 off to your right.
That's 3 wide. I hope everybody knows it. I can add that fast.
We're at lap 57. Again, at lap 45, we were under caution for an accident involving Tina Gordon, Rick Crawford, and Hank Parker Jr. Those 3 drivers have been taken to the care center, and we will again update you as soon as we find out how they are doing.
Look at the traffic. That 40 truck's having trouble keeping his stuff going in the right direction.
We saw him earlier make contact with Bobby Hamilton as he slid up the racetrack as Bobby was lapping him to the outside. There's our lucky dog, Frank Kimball. I don't think we mentioned the fact that he was the lucky recipient of the 3 pass. He's now in the lead lap.
Moving up, the 62 Orleans Dodge of Steve Park. That's 5th position right there for Steve Park.
That's an impressive run. Way from the back.
Matt Craftsman started in 6th position, still in 6th position as he just gave up 5th to Park.
There's a 3rd place truck, David Rudeman. He can't complete the pass on Andy Houston. He can't get up underneath under the 2 truck. Drives up beside him and then.
Remember, right here, he cannot use all his throttle because Andy Houston is there. He's not able to slide out to the outside wall like he would want to. He's got Carl Edwards hanging back there somewhere trying to get by him too.
I believe he's going to clear him this time.
And when we're on board, we can hear the throttle he does not get off that throttle very much as they go into turn 1.
That's what's great about these trucks, Rick. Man, the fact that they're so aerodynamically dirty, the aerodynamics is what slows them down, you know, and that's why you don't see the crazy fast speeds like you do in Nextel Cup racing. But the trucks just seem to handle better because of all the downforce that they make.
With more on Steve Park, let's go down to Ray.
Well, Park pitted on that last round of pit stops there, guys, and he came in. They did put 4 tires and fuel in that thing, but not one single adjustment, not even air pressure. Steve said this thing is absolutely great, and I love the way I can hug the white line. He's been able to pass on the bottom. He said he also feels good if he has to go to the high side, but he prefers to stay on the inside. Now, you look to the outside of him, you see the number 10 Power Stroke Ford of Terry Cook. Cook is not on the lead lap, but they came in a little while ago, and they were very lucky to hit pit road when they did on lap 42 because he had an equalized right front tire. So that is why Terry Cook has fallen off the lead lap.
Terry Cook is being shown as 2 laps down right now, so that unscheduled pit stop cost him a couple laps. Ted Musgrave is 1 lap down. I thought he was one of the trucks on the lead lap, but he's being shown 1 lap down also.
Anytime a caution flies, Phil, in the middle of pit stops, obviously it's going to get a little bit confusing to figure out who's where. But just like before the caution flew, Bobby Hamilton's dominant right now. He's driving away from Skinner. Fastest truck on the track.
You mentioned during pit stops when the caution comes out, anything can happen. Right now we're being told there are only 12 trucks currently on the lead lap.
Bobby Hamilton being the last of those 12, and he's some 30.5 seconds behind.
Shane Sieg running very well and a benefactor of being in the right place at the right time. Started 30th, currently running in 7th or in 11th position right now.
Great run for that team.
He was very impressive last year. He drove this truck a couple times, this one or the 08, which belonged to the same team, Gene Christensen, and he was very, very impressive with the equipment that he had last year, and he's doing a terrific job. For him to be one of the only trucks on the lead lap here, and he's never been here before either, Michael.
And you know, he took advantage of having a strong truck and played it into a top 10 run so far.
Mike Skinner in the Toyota still out in front. David Rudeman also in a Toyota sitting in 2nd. So Toyota 1 and 2 here in Atlanta. Welcome back to the EasyCare Vehicle Service Contracts 200 live on speed. Mike Skinner in the 42 out in front of somewhat a teammate, David Rudeman, the Toyota drivers. And Rudeman has been reeling in Mike Skinner.
Check him out. I told you at the beginning of the race he didn't like going up high. He wanted to stay right next to that white line because he wasn't used to what it was like to run here at Atlanta out next to the wall. Well, he's creeping into it right down on the bottom in turn 1. But watch Rudeman when they shoot to turn 1. Excuse me, turn 3. See there, he's adjusting his line. He got tight behind him, so he's going to run high in 1 and 2. And you watch the ground he makes on Skinner here as they exit. He's been faster off that turn. You can see there, see him closing in.
He's doing what you're doing. Closer he gets to the 4 truck.
Through the center of the corner, it doesn't look like he gains anything, but he has so much more momentum on the outside coming off the corner. That's where he does his gaining.
Darrell Waltrip eagerly watching the NTN bearings number 17 move up on Mike Skinner. We talked earlier about the accident that took place on lap 45 with more on those drivers. Let's go down to Randy Norris.
Well, thanks. I'm here at the Infield Care Center with Herb Branham, Director of Communications with NASCAR. Herb, what's the update on our drivers?
Yeah, all 3 of the drivers that were involved in that incident are being transported to Atlanta Medical Center for further evaluation. We have Hank Parker Jr. He's been flown to Atlanta Medical Center. Tina Gordon and Rick Crawford going by ground transport. All 3 drivers are awake, going to Atlanta Medical Center for further evaluation.
Okay, thanks. We'll update you if we hear anything else, guys.
See Mike Skinner continuing to run the bottom of the racetrack, and he's actually closing in on Bobby Hamilton a little bit. Bobby's had the best truck here, but he was able to pull out in front of Mike Skinner to get back on the tail end of the lead lap, but see him running right on the top of the racetrack like he's done from the very, very beginning.
These three trucks, the 4, the 42, and the 17, are running lap times that are just alike, Phil. They'll vary a half a tenth amongst each other, so really 3 equally matched trucks here. Aerodynamics is playing a role in this gig too. You know, Bobby's out in the front lapping trucks, picking up an aero push. Then you see David and Skinner having to deal with each other and how the air comes off of their trucks.
More on Rudeman, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I just wanted to add on David Rudeman's number 17. You've been hearing his radio a good bit there, and he is getting instructions from up on the roof from one of his best friends ever, and that is Brian Patty. And many people are familiar with Brian as he is a crew chief for Joe Nemechek and their team, where David Rudeman is running some bush races with them also. Brian and him have been friends from a long time ago, from way back in Florida, and Brian is his spotter up on the roof trying to help David get a better line here on the racetrack.
Well, actually, Brian and Bobby Kennedy are buddies too, and that's how they David wound up getting the ride in Darrell's truck. Brian told Bobby that David was available, and man, David's been impressive in just a few bush starts, and so he certainly was the guy that Darrell wanted when he found out that Brian and Bobby had talked about David.
Bobby told me that when Brian said, hey, we don't have a full-time deal for David, he is available, Bobby said, well, tell him he's got the job.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. There was no interview, no anything. He had the job, and here he is.
He's too tight, Deke. You'll take care of him. Don't worry.
That was Brian's voice right there, Brian Patty.
He said you're...
Come on, wedge out, Bob.
David's wanting some wedge out. Brian's telling David that his truck's just tight because he's...
the first time, okay?
He's telling him it's tight just because he's behind the 42, and you heard him call him Beak. That's his nickname. They call David Beak. I don't know why. Do you, Phil?
Hey, I've been called Beak before. 3 Toyotas out in front of the field. Can Toyota continue their dominance? We'll see when we come back. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. This happened on lap 45, a very big incident. Tina Gordon in the 13 gets hit by Rick Crawford and then by Hank Parker Jr. All 3 drivers are awake and alert. They've all been taken to local hospitals here in Atlanta to check, and we will update you further on the conditions of all 3 drivers. If we're not able to update you by the end of this broadcast, stay tuned to Speed News at 7 p.m. and they will update you as to the conditions of those 3 drivers. We take a look at our leaders. Mike Skinner still out in front of David Rudeman.
It's a great cat and mouse game between these two. Dave was making ground on the top of 1 and 2. Skinner has now moved up to the top of 1 and 2. So Dave shot down to the bottom in 3 and 4. They've been switching lanes, but their times are identical, and Bobby Hamilton is driving away from them.
Frank Kimmel in the 29. They pull that truck into the garage.
Tough break for the K Automotive team. Frank, a lot of ARCA experience here. Won an ARCA race back in 1998 here in March. Short day for them, unfortunately.
And there's the leader of the race. And I mentioned Bobby Hamilton is driving away from these guys. He is on the tail end of the lead lap, restarted just in front of the leaders, and is attempting to catch a caution so he can get back in this battle. He obviously has got a very strong truck. You see him there just going down the screen. Opened up a pretty good distance between himself and Skinner.
Ray, what have you got on fuel?
Well, Michael was talking about Hamilton staying out there. He can be out there at least, I'd say another 18 laps or so. They're positioning themselves to come back down pit road right around lap 100. But here's the thing. Remember, he pitted on lap 43, and the other guys didn't come till 50. So Skinner and the other guys that are right behind Bobby Hamilton, the leader in that next group, they can stay out till 105, 107. So Hamilton's hoping that if there's another caution in this race, it happens before lap 100.
And he about caused a caution himself right there.
He was all over the racetrack there when Ray started that report.
Battle for the lead's going to heat up here.
See if we can take a look at Bobby Hamilton here. You see him gets maybe a little bit too high. He's up in the loose stuff a little bit, and you see him get sideways. Or watch his hands. Watch him fight that thing.
Oh, and he just barely kept it off the fence. Great job by Bobby Hamilton. That shows you how these guys are right on the edge, Phil. I mean, they're doing all they can every lap.
We talked about the trucks that would probably qualify up front were maybe a little more aerodynamically slick than the other trucks that were qualifying in the back. Boy, Bobby's right against that wall. But anyway, David Rudiman was on the pole, so obviously he had a very slick truck, and he's able to run right now. He's in second position. There's David Rudiman right there. You see the leader, Mike Skinner, right in front of him. He's less than a half a second behind, so obviously they have a very fast aerodynamic truck, but it must have enough downforce because he's doing a terrific job racing for the lead.
Now we show Bobby Hamilton currently in 11th position, but he's 1.5 miles behind the leader right now. He's just in front of the leader, so he is on the lead lap, but not too far on the lead lap.
In order for Bobby Hamilton to win this race, he's going to need the caution flag to fall in an opportune time. He's short on fuel. He's a mile and a half behind. He needs a break, and he's got the fastest truck. It just isn't adding up for him so far.
He's had a break, but it was the wrong one.
That's
when
right.
the caution came out. See Mike Skinner, our leader, 16-time race winner in the Craftsman Truck Series.
That break you guys are talking about, possibly NASCAR is looking.
There it is.
NASCAR was looking at debris, and sure enough, and Joey Clanton has problems, gets into the wall.
Oh, wow, turn one. I told you he was having trouble keeping that.
That is huge for Bobby Hamilton, Michael. That is the break he needed. Now we're 86 laps into this race. We've got about, 44 laps to go. I think almost everybody should be able to make it on fuel from here. One more pit stop. Bobby Hamilton's going to be able to drive all the way around this racetrack, pull right up behind the lead lap trucks, and he's right back in this thing.
It's also a break for Kenny Schrader. He gets the free pass around and puts himself back on the lead lap. He wasn't able to unlap himself on the track like Hamilton, but he took advantage of the rule that gives him the free pass around.
Not only does Bobby Hamilton benefit from being able to move back to the back of the lead lap, but as you well documented, he's running fast. He's running very fast. He's going to be able to catch these guys if he has enough time. Mike Skinner has led 46 of the laps here. Bobby Hamilton at 34. David Rudiman led the first 7. Those are your only 3 lap leaders so far today, and we're under only our second caution of the day.
What a great battle we had for the lead there, though. Those guys were just changing lines and doing everything they could. You know, people might think that Skinner was just kind of taking it easy, saving his stuff. He doesn't know how to do that. All he knows how to do is go wide open. So you can bet he was giving it all he had. And Rudiman was right there behind him. His second truck race. Skinner's been in hundreds of truck races. His second one, he's just trying to figure out how to pass the guy.
Now, where do you see the benefit here? Does Mike Skinner benefit from this caution, or does David Rudiman benefit? Is this a crew chief caution right now?
As they come down pit road right here, it levels the whole game. Everybody's on the same tires from here to the end of the race. It's the perfect scenario for the TV viewers at home, the fans in the stands, and indeed for the teams as well, Wendy.
Well, the 42 is in for 4 tires. They were a little loose on both sides. They made a half-pound air pressure adjustment, but not a whole lot of adjustments for Mike Skinner going to the 17. And David Rudiman, he was getting too tight. He wanted to breed up. They take 4 tires, 2 rounds away. Left side, go to Ray.
Wendy, on the bottom of your screen, you see Travis Quapple's Line X Toyota. They wanted to go 1/2 round down on the track bar and just a 1/2 pound of air pressure out of the right rear. Travis will head back to the racetrack, but he will be 3rd in line. 3 Toyotas get off of the pit road in order. It was Skinner, then Rudiman, then Travis.
The teams all held serve. Nobody gave anything up there. The first 3 guys come back out right up front. There's a Dodge right there that's got all kinds of plans to mess up this Toyota party they think they're having up in the front, doesn't he?
I want to make mention that Ted Musgrave was able to pit there. Ted Musgrave, I said earlier that he was being shown as a lap down. He is now being shown back on the lead lap. I thought he was on the lead lap. I couldn't understand why they were showing him a lap down, but he is on the lead lap. He was able to pit with the leaders. And again, as Michael said, it's a level playing field right now. May the best man win.
We're under our second caution, and the reason for that, Joey Clanton in the 40 got into the wall in turn number 1. We'll be back with more racing on Speed. The premier race of the American Le Mans Series kicks off the 2004 season with what promises to be another classic event featuring a strong field of international entries. The champion Audi and Dyson Racing's MG Lolas are considered strong contenders to win it all. Catch all the sports car racing action next Saturday with the American Le Mans Series Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring at 10 a.m. Eastern, live on Speed Channel. Still under caution number 2 as Joey Clanton had got into the wall in turn number 1.
NASCAR taking this opportunity to blow some of the debris off the racetrack up in turns 1 and 2. You saw when Bobby Hamilton got out next to the wall, there's a lot of dust and stuff, so they blow that off occasionally.
Craftsman, always on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to tools. Today we want to spotlight another important piece of equipment that Craftsman makes available to all of us in the Craftsman Tool Tech.
When the crew members down here in the garage say, hand me a set of pliers, from now on they'll say, hand me those grip masters from Craftsman. This thing has a great ergonomic handle on it and it's really easy to squeeze. But what I love is it's actually 2 sets of pliers in one. On this set of the switch, it works like an old conventional set of pliers where the prong's actually released from the thing that you're working on. But it can be easily switched over to be a locking set of pliers. Then you can take your hands free and actually use the tool in a different way. This thing is really awesome, and the crew members down here say, Grip Masters get an A+.
I believe Ray is starting to fill his toolbox full of these Craftsman tools. He had a twin cutter from Daytona. Now he's got the Grip Master.
The ergonomically correct Grip Master too.
I thought that was very well put.
Schrader just took off around the pace truck, getting his lap back. We ought to call him and ask him what he thinks about that. Let's try it.
I bet she's happy about it.
Schrader, it's Mike. What are you doing?
Oh, just trying to play catch up. We got a lucky break there, you know, got the lucky dog pass, but we got it better, but need to change some stuff.
Let's turn this into something. Last 30 laps or so of this event. What do you think?
It's not out of the question. I guarantee you we're not going to lay over there, Mikey. We'll have a fight here.
All right. We'll watch.
Wendy?
Well, I'm with crew chief Rick Wren of Mike Skinner's truck. What's Skinner saying on the radio?
Well, we started off pretty loose, made a pretty serious adjustment that first stop. He said it brought her in about 60% better. So we just made a minor adjustment because the truck stayed under him a lot longer that run. I mean, we got what we got right now. That's what we told him. It's up to him now. I mean, we got about 35 laps to go. We've been good all day. There's a couple other trucks. We got to see how they made their adjustments and if they can get to us. Got a good truck, good stops. I'd like to say thanks to Toyota and Tundra, Mike Skinner and the guys. We'll just have to see how it goes now. Got to have a little luck on our side.
Are you worried about Hamilton coming through?
Hamilton's the best one. That's what we got to worry about. The more veterans, we got a veteran driving our truck, and there's a veteran back there that wants to take our spot. So we'll have to see what we got.
All right, we'll see if experience pays off today for the 42 team.
Bobby Hamilton being shown in 11th. Mike Skinner takes the green flag.
Green, green, green.
David Rudiman, and then Skinner's teammate Travis Quapple right behind Rudiman. We're on board with Travis Quapple right now as Travis moves up into the middle of the track. Dennis Setzer shown in 8th position right now.
Steve Park didn't have a really good pit stop there. Lost some spots, so he'll have to.
See, Bobby Musgrave.
Bobby Musgrave.
Bobby Hamilton and Ted Musgrave up on the top of the racetrack. As we mentioned, Ted Musgrave is on the lead lap.
Park had a penalty on pit road as the reason why he was in the back. Wendy, what they do?
Yeah, Steve Park was reporting he was very fast on the long runs, but he didn't want to make any adjustments on that pit stop, so they just took 4 tires and fuel. But what happened was their jackman, Craig Neems, he fell going over pit wall, fell over the pit wall a little too early. He came in 5th, and the penalty for that is going to the tail end of the longest line, which put him 10th at that restart.
Just passed Shane Seek for the 11th position, so he's on the move again.
But the laps are starting to diminish as far as the time to get up front. Another man on the move, Bobby Hamilton in that Square D Dodge.
Up into the 6th position. All right, look at him trying to get by Carl Edwards. That's for the top 5 right there.
Wow. He's on a mission, is that fair to say?
Yeah, you remember he was just in front of the leaders when that caution came out, and so he was able to go to the back of the lead lap.
We saw Bobby dominate the early part of this race. As you see Shane Meal drive to the inside of Carl Edwards. That's also for position, the 6th position. But Bobby Hamilton was on a mission at the beginning, but maybe he wasn't showing all he had. He may have more than he was showing, and he was leading the race easily. How about it, Ray?
Add to that, Phil, on lap 91 while we were under caution there, just before we went back to green, Bobby said, let's fill this thing up. I like the feel of this truck with a full load of fuel. So they came down, filled it up. One truck that did not take a full load of fuel that last time was the 99 of Carl Edwards. He said, just put enough in it to get us to the end. I don't want a full tank of gas.
These leaders are all over this racetrack. Bobby right up the top, trying to get around that Chevrolet of Matt Crafton. Matt's had the strongest Chevy here today. You can see the battle there between the Dodge and the Chevy. A couple of Toyotas, 3 Toyotas out ahead of them. A great manufacturer mix up at the head of this field.
Matt Crafton having a great run today, battling for 4th position.
Bobby got on the outside of him off of 4 there.
Bobby has so much momentum on the outside of the racetrack. He keeps that thing wound up through the center of the corner. See David Ruderman on the outside. There's Travis Quapple trying to get underneath David Ruderman for the 2nd position.
And these guys are nicking away at Skinner's advantage. Skinner driven off to a pretty good lead, but yet here they all are back on his bumper. We're going to see a great finish here at Atlanta, Phil.
And Bobby Hamilton is coming. He's in the 4th position. There he is, the top of your screen right there, the Square D Dodge.
Travis Quapple looked like almost got into the wall when they were coming out of 4. With more on Bobby Hamilton, Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, I just wanted to let you know this is a truck that Bobby has won with before. They call it Beavis, and he drove it to victory lane in Darlington. Bobby came on the radio just as they went back to green there, and he said, this thing feels great. That's pretty obvious the way he's cutting through the field.
Maybe we won't see a great finish. He looks like he's going to catch these guys and just drive away from them.
I don't think Bobby cares if we see a great finish or not.
Just FYI, I've got a dog named Beavis at home.
Look at the way Bobby Hamilton just tears away at the Toyotas. Right on by as he goes to the outside of David Ruderman, and he's passing everybody on the outside.
Outside quarter.
Wow. I bet you David's saying, man, I didn't know you could do that. Skinner sees him coming. He knows that he better try a different line. You can see there, Skinner heads to the top and says, okay, all right, Bobby, if that's where you want to race, you're going to have to go around the inside of me. Let's see if Skinner's able to get up high enough. We saw David. He thought he was running the top in 1 and 2. Bobby drove around the outside of him. Michael probably not leave enough room for Bobby to get around the top.
Bobby's not afraid to stir that dust up there and right next to the wall. You see him. Look at all the dust up there.
They're all 4 battling for this lead. I love the trucks, man.
A little banging between David Ruderman and Travis Quapple. They came off the corner side by side. Got into each other.
Hamilton says, I can do it on the bottom too, boys. Watch this. Check them out.
3 trucks were on the bottom. Mike Skinner tries to get the position back, but Bobby Hamilton leads that lap. That puts him at 35 laps led for Bobby Hamilton. Mike Skinner has led 61 of the laps here. David Ruderman the other 8.
Now, Michael, is this going to take some wind out of Skinner's sails? Here he has been leading this race. He sees Bobby Hamilton just drive by him. Is he going to be more vulnerable? Now, look at David Ruderman go to the inside of the racetrack.
I don't think so. I think Skinner is set on winning this race. All these boys want to get Toyota their first victory. They're digging hard to do so. They're not going to let Bobby driving by them take any wind out of their sails. They'll say, well, maybe his truck will give up in the longer run. Maybe he was so good on those new tires, he'll be vulnerable at the end of the run.
I want to throw a question out to you guys and see how well you know the point system, because right now it's a little unclear to me. But if Bobby Hamilton would lead all of the laps remaining in this race, he would end up leading 61 laps. Mike Skinner would end up leading 61 laps. Who gets the most bonus? Who gets the bonus point?
They both get it. They both get it. Let's worry about that when it happens. These cats are
3 wide.
The thing about you love about the trucks, they knock such a big hole in the air. It brings all the trucks together. You just have great racing.
The closing rate just amazing on these trucks, and we saw that especially at Daytona. We're seeing it here at Atlanta.
What a great run by Shane Meal in the 15 truck. Billy Ballew's Chevrolet DEI powered, as you mentioned. What a terrific run going right now.
It looked like maybe the 24 scrubbed the wall a few laps back, and now he's fallen off the pace a little bit, Rick, so he might have knocked that right front corner off his truck a little bit and made it start pushing on him.
believe Travis Kvapil did brush the wall. Side by side, Mike Skinner and David Rudiman. Toyotas are trying to regain the top spot from Bobby Hamilton. Back out in front in the Dodge. Skinner, Rudiman, Craftsman, Travis Kvapil rounding out the top 5. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dennis James showing us the 3rd caution of the day.
That's the reason why.
Wayne Edwards in the 93 is the reason. Let's take a look.
Oh, wow, look who's right behind him.
Ken pulled up behind him, took a little air off his spoiler, and around Wayne went. He did a great job keeping it out of the inside wall here. It got going straight again, but Schrader had an eyeful of that, didn't he?
We got to ask Schrader what happened.
Let's take a look at what Ken Schrader saw.
And let's see if what he says happened is consistent with what did happen.
This isn't fair. Here's him off the throttle.
Whoa. That had to just surprise the heck out of Kenny. It looked like that cat was just riding along, minding his own business. Schrader, I got to know what you thought when that boy spun out.
Well, I didn't help that boy none, but I got up behind him. I started to go underneath him, Mikey, and it loosened him up big time. And there wasn't much I could do. I just kind of hold up. But I was slowing up pretty much because these trucks don't spin real quick. You know, they catch all that air and it's a slow slide. So I knew I'd have to get slowed up. But and I hate it for him. But I was going underneath him.
Yeah, the video from your truck there exonerates any wrongdoing that you might have been blamed for. You were clean on that one.
You stick up for me, buddy, and I'll stick up for you, okay?
A couple of guys in the shape we're in need to look out for one another.
We're covering each other's behind, that's for sure.
Take another look from Kenny Schrader's vantage point.
Watch the closing rate that Kenny puts on the truck of Wayne Edwards, and it just started stepping out on him. I'm not so sure Kenny even took the air off yet.
Kenny was going to drive by. You could see him preparing to drive by on the inside, and unfortunately around Wayne went. Some trucks making some pit stops here. The 46 of Dennis Setzer.
Wendy?
Well, Ted Musgrave's coming down pit road. You see the team going around the right side under the truck. As soon as we get an update on what's going on, we'll let you guys know.
Now, you remember the last time that one truck did that? They moved the rear end housing around, and he drove off and left them out at Michigan. Rick, what are they doing down there at the 46? They don't have any tires, do they, Ray?
No, but they wanted to make a big track bar adjustment for Dennis Setzer there on his Silverado because he said that he is not happy at all. He's been so loose all day. They've had a couple of different pit stops. They went up 4 rounds on the track bar. They will definitely try to make it better for him, but he's been complaining about being loose every time that they've pitted.
We are under the 3rd caution, and I wanted to update you. The 2nd caution, Joey Clanton got into the wall in turn number 1, and they have taken him to a local hospital here to check him. He was alert, awake when they took him there, but we talked about this at the beginning of the show. They're going fast. If you hit anything here, it's going to hurt.
We need the safer barriers everywhere. We've just seen wonderful things out of trucks and cars that have hit those retaining walls with the safer barriers attached to them, and it's just an amazing difference. You know, Rick Crawford's 2nd hit into the outside wall after hitting Tina was just huge, and then of course Joey, you could tell the way that truck was narrowed up in the front end when he was out next to that outside wall. So obviously it's technology that is moving forward. They're implementing them at racetracks every day, and just can't wait to the day that when people look at us and say, man, y'all used to race around with concrete walls right beside you? I never heard of such things.
Well, be sure to tune in to Speed Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern to catch Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain. He takes your calls and emails live on virtually any racing subject: stock cars, Indy cars, Formula One, drag racing, motorcycles, whatever's on your mind. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, 4 nights a week at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. And we're riding along with a guy who has a record, or is trying to break a record, that is right now in contention. He's just out of the top 10, and he's had 21 consecutive top 10 finishes. He's looking to improve on that. But before that, let's go down to Ray.
Well, Rick, I just wanted to update you on the situation here for BHR. Bobby Hamilton, of course, did not want to see a caution here, but his teammate Chad Chaffin most certainly did. Chad, running in 14th right now, will be the lucky dog here. So he was the first truck that was 1 lap down. So Chad will move around here when we get ready to go back to racing, and he will get his lap back. It will be 1 to go this time as they come to the flag.
Have us a little 10-lap shootout. What do you think, Phil?
When the green flag comes back out, we'll have 9 laps to go. So it will be a single file restart. Andy Houston's going to come back in for some adjustments. As we talk, I don't think anybody has any tires left. So
no. That's a cool.
Just want to adjust the chest. Well, there he is with some.
They're going to put
right side tires.
Right?
I'm not sure where Andy got those tires.
NASCAR will probably be wondering that same thing and make sure that everything's on the up and up. But that's a great rule, isn't it, Phil, that everybody's on the same playing field, you know, and we're not just throwing tires at them every time they throw a caution flag.
This could be the set of tires that Andy did most of his practice on yesterday. When these drivers get here, teams, they have 4 sets of tires to do all their practicing, qualifying, and racing. So for him to save a set of tires, more than likely it's probably the set that he did most of his practicing on yesterday.
And with Nextel Cup guys, you see them changing tires every time. But the reason for limiting these drivers and crews and teams to just 4 sets is monetary.
Yeah, tires are expensive. So
if they let Michael and I determine how many tires we're going to use, we will have a new set of tires every time the caution flag flies. You, as a driver, you want that paper flapping, which means the tires have labels on them.
They feel so good.
How nervous? We just saw Bobby Kennedy up there on the pit box. How nervous is Bobby Kennedy right now with young David Rudiman right in the mix of this, currently in 3rd?
I'm glad he can't see the right side of this truck that I think Dave's wiped off of it somewhat. That's going to hurt his chances to win this race here at the end. We talked about how aerodynamically sensitive these things are with those huge front ends. He's got his narrowed up somewhat.
Very poor restart by Shane Meal right there. Ted Musgrove was able to drive by him. He's lost 3 positions on this restart.
Mike Skinner moves by Bobby Hamilton. Oh, and he gets sideways and saves it. Bobby Hamilton stays out in front. Mike Skinner stays in the top 3.
What a save by Mike Skinner. That was a professional move right there now.
Oh, man, look at him come back.
They're 3 wide going through 3 and 4, and they come down the front stretch, and Mike Skinner has made it back into 2nd position.
Wonder what Skinner's thinking as he's catching Bobby Hamilton right here. Does he think he owes him one, or does he think that was all fair there?
I wonder what Bobby Hamilton's thinking right now with Mike Skinner in his rearview mirror right about now.
What a great battle.
Bobby Hamilton in the Dodge, Square D Dodge, out in front of Mike Skinner in the Toyota, and David Rudiman in the number 17 NTN Bearings Toyota. And then you have the 24 of Travis Quapple in the Linex Toyota.
Here we are, side by side for the lead.
He's back to the inside. He leads that lap. Mike Skinner took the lead at the start-finish line. Can he exit turn 2 with it on the back straightaway?
Just over 1,000th of a second separating those two as they cross the start-finish line, and they're side by side still going down the back stretch.
Been hard for these drivers to make the pass on the bottom of the racetrack. Bobby Hamilton able to keep the momentum up. Looks like Mike Skinner's a little bit better in 3 and 4 on the bottom of the racetrack than he is in 1 and 2.
Let's find out what's going on with Mike Skinner. Wendy?
That's right, Phil. I was just talking to Rick Wren, and Skinner was saying the truck is loose, so Wren wanted him to run high in 1 and 2 and the bottom of 3 and 4. And Rick Wren came back and he said, that's all we got. It's all up to you. Bring it home.
Look at it here. David Rudiman now trying to go through the middle.
Wow, can Rudiman close in behind Hamilton and take the spot away from Skinner on the outside?
Looks like he did.
Here they come. 3 wide again through 3 and 4.
Remember, Skinner's better in 3 and 4 than he is in 1 and 2.
5 to go, Phil.
It may be a battle to see who gets to the start-finish line. He may not have to clear him, Mike.
And his strong suit is 3 and 4. And Rudiman's going to fill the hole if there's one there.
What a terrific race here.
And we see this every week, week in and week out. Craftsman Truck Series Racing, the best in NASCAR. And here again, the Toyota's on the bottom of the track. All 3 of them lined up. Bobby Hamilton on the high side.
He cleared him.
Mike Skinner takes the lead from Bobby Hamilton. I can't.
Oh, problems with Steve Park sliding down the
Stay off the wall, Steve. Cut her to the left.
What you're doing. Don't be out. No caution yet. Caution down. Wave them off.
Mike Skinner has the lead.
Mike Skinner, when a caution comes out, they freeze the field. Mike Skinner is your leader. We do not end under caution. That is the one unique thing about the Craftsman Truck Series. We will never end with a caution flag.
Well, this is going to be a quickie yellow. Not much is going to happen here. They're going to line them back up and try to decide who's going to win this thing. And I didn't know I could get any more tense than what happened at Daytona, all the action going down there. And here these cats are stacked up 6 deep trying to figure out who's going to win.
Robert Huffman started on the outside pole in that number 12, had problems, got into the wall, coming out of turn number 4, and you see him resting now on the track.
He and Steve got together there. You see Robert's going to make contact there at the outside wall. Steve, I don't think made any contact, got her straightened back out and kept going. But tough break for Robert Huffman, doing a terrific job here running in the top 10 in his Toyota.
Have to try to figure out what happens here.
Take a look at that again.
Oh!
Yeah.
Robert got in the wall, bounced off, and Steve wasn't, you know, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nothing Park could do there.
2 races in a row now for Steve Park. Nothing he could do, just got moved out of the way.
Well, he'll be fine on this one, though. He didn't receive much damage. He'll be able to race into the top 10, I think. He's got a pretty strong truck. He's done a good job all day long. He just was a victim of circumstances there. Robert lost the front end on that truck and slid into the outside wall, bounced off and caught Steve.
Let's look again at how caution number 4 has come out.
Okay, as you mentioned, just lost the front end coming off the corner there. That's where these guys are most vulnerable to lose the front end off the corner, and made contact and bounced off the wall into Steve. Tough break.
Can we go to break?
Let's just say a record crowd for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway is able to watch, obviously, the first truck race at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
That's very safe to say.
But they are getting their money's worth here. They were on their feet when the green flag came out with 9 laps to go. I'm sure they'll be just as excited as you are, Michael, when the final green flag comes out.
This is my first green-white checkered. So,
and welcome to the Truck Series.
Wendy, what's happening?
Well, I'm here with Rick Wren. Rick, you said you weren't excited to see that caution come out.
No, we've worked really hard to stay up front all day, and I'll tell you, Mike Skinner sat up on the wheel for those 5 laps. I mean, there's 2 crafty veterans racing each other hard out there right now. The race would already be over and we'd have won by now. But both of those guys are pretty good on cold tires. Last time he started in front of us, it took us 5 to get around him. Well, he doesn't have 5 laps to get back around us, so got to have a good restart. Don't miss any gears. Hopefully somebody behind us don't do something stupid and wreck us. It's going to be Mike or Bobby, I'm sure. We're going to have to let the cards play themselves out, I guess.
All right, Rick Wren, looking forward to see what the finish comes to. Let's go to Ray.
Thank you, Wendy. Here is Danny Rollins, and Bobby was singing a song on the radio a little bit ago. Tell us what it was.
Well, I just told him he had to have some faith right here. You know, he said don't count your chickens till they're hatched right here. But, you know, right now, the Square D Dodge running real good right now. Bobby's doing an awesome job. And, I mean, the cards has been dealt. You just got to play them or fold right here. No matter where we finish it, I think everybody here has done a good job this weekend. Just got to play them out.
Skinner looked a little bit better off turn 4, so where do you expect the boss man to make the move?
Off of 4.
I think so, too.
He's good up off, you know, off the high side right here. So I know Skinner's been going in on the low side down here. So we'll just see what happens. I think he's still got a little bit left.
I think you're right. That is Danny Rollins, and I would not believe that Bobby Hamilton is done with this thing yet, guys. Wendy?
I'm here with Darrell Waltrip. David Rudiman's having an awesome run today. How excited are you?
I'm about to have a heart attack. We don't need these cautions, you know. He's had a couple of good shots, but he's really being cautious. He's doing a great job. I just hope he finishes right where he is. I'd be happy with that. Love for the Toyota, for us to be the first Toyota to win, but we got a pole, and he's had a great day. He's doing a great job, and I, you know, just don't want anything to happen here on this green-white checkered. I'm very proud of him and this whole team. Great pit stops. Bobby, Jason, everybody, NTN bearings. We've all had a great day, and just load that baby in the truck, and I'll see him in Martinsville.
All right, Darrell Waltrip, hopeful for the rookie to get in front of the veterans before the race ends.
Let's take a look at the restart. The last restart when there was 9 to go, and the problems that Mike Skinner got out of.
Well, he dove to the bottom of the racetrack. We said on the short run maybe a truck that worked on the bottom would be the best. He almost cleared Bobby.
Yeah, his spotter may have said clear right here, but he didn't quite have the momentum, and when he pulled up in front of Bobby, Bobby made just the slightest bit of contact. But what a save by Mike Skinner. That is a race-winning save right there, potentially.
And check out Rudiman driving up on the outside of him. But when Mike Skinner got to turn 3 and 4, he didn't even lift. He shot around that corner and got right straight back to second place. You can see him here straight to the bottom of the track. You hear Rudiman barely lift. You know, Skinner did the same thing. Almost clears Hamilton.
He was way out of shape in that thing. Then, as you mentioned, when he got down to 3 and 4, he never looked. He didn't care how many laps he had on his tires.
Watch him go here. Check him out. All right, I'm going to go get that guy. There he goes.
And he did.
And guys, this is 2 races in a row. Remember, the Daytona winner, Carl Edwards, he raced down pit road at 180 miles an hour because he and Randy LaJoie got side by side and they had to go down pit road. So if Mike Skinner comes back to win this, that's 2 races in a row that guys have been absolutely out of control and then back in control.
Parked in victory lane afterwards.
Yes. Let's go down to Ray.
Hey, Rick, remember at the top of the show, I told you this was the 36th time we've run on a 1.5 mile racetrack. Well, guess what? Bobby Hamilton has a win at Homestead, but Mike Skinner, who has 16 career wins in this series, has never won on a 1.5 mile racetrack. Wendy?
Well, thanks, Ray. They're talking to Mike Skinner, and they said there's no excuses. Don't jump the restart. He says that's okay. I'm looking at this as 2 qualifying laps. So hopefully those qualifying laps are pretty good for him. Good job.
I'm thinking in this situation, I'm okay with Mike Skinner being my shoe. I think you latch him down behind the wheel of that truck and tell him he's got 2 laps to hold off the world, and I like my chances with Mike Skinner.
And I think he's been a little bit better on the restarts too, because he was able to pass Bobby Hamilton, or get in front of Bobby Hamilton, didn't necessarily pass him. But remember before, when Bobby Hamilton was on the tail end of the lead lap, Mike Skinner passed him on the restart, and then Bobby passed him back after a couple more laps. So I like Mike Skinner on a short run.
Let's check out what this rookie does in 3rd place. See if he can stir things up, and he's got a good start right behind Hamilton.
Green-white checker. We've got Mike Skinner in the 42 out in front. Bobby Hamilton in the Squaredy Dodge number 4 sitting 2nd. David Rudiman, the rookie, the 17 of David Rudiman in 3rd. Travis Kvapil in the 24 is 4th. And 5th is Matt Crafton. A great run for him in that Chevrolet.
Never had a top 5 finish before. Matt Crafton could be his first of his career.
He's got Shane Mill breathing right down his neck. Bobby Hamilton has dropped the ball. Uh-oh, Skinner's pushing all 4. His truck's pushing somewhat.
They go by the start-finish line. The white flag flies. 1.54 miles to go for Matt Skinner. Mike Skinner.
I don't blame you, Rick. I don't know their names either right now. I'm a nervous wreck. These guys are going after it. Look at Hamilton to the top of the track. Can he get there?
Had some momentum.
Down the backstretch they go. Mike Skinner out in front of Bobby Hamilton. Mike Skinner trying to block. Bobby Hamilton made his passes on the high side, and here he goes to the top.
Side by side
deep Dodge, and Mike Skinner coming out of turn number 4, side by side. Here they come in the quad oval. It's Bobby Hamilton, Mike Skinner, and Bobby Hamilton will win the EasyCare 200.
Oh, what a finish!
What a job on Mike Skinner. Comes across sideways, still finishes 2nd, and stays out of the wall.
Unbelievable finish.
A great day for Bobby Hamilton. He battled from a lap down, wins the race. A great day for Skinner. He gave it all. You saw what Mike Skinner was all about right there. He's not leaving anything behind. He's going to try to win this race no matter what it takes. And then you got the rookie Rudiman right there in case something goes wrong. What a finish.
I think Danny Rollins knew a little bit more than we did. He thought his man had something for him, and he did.
Rick Rinn is happy. Rick Rinn was going, yeah, that was a great finish. And Rick Rinn's been involved in this series for a long time. He knows great racing when he sees it, and we see it right here at the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Ray, what's going on?
Danny Rollins is here, and boy, I'll tell you, that's why there's a big crowd of fans here, man. Congratulations on another great victory.
Oh, man, this is awesome right here. I mean, it's just, I just can't say anything. You know, it's just all the guys back in the shop. I like to thank them. I like to thank Square D, Lufkin Tools. I mean, it's just outstanding right here.
Congratulations, another great day. Danny Rollins, the winning crew chief for Hamilton, who's doing the big smoke out on the front stretch.
Something we don't normally see out of Bobby Hamilton, a lot of celebration, but I tell you what, his blood pressure's got to be running about as high as all of ours.
I can't wait to see Bobby Hamilton in victory lane. You're right, he's a little reserved. He doesn't get too far off center, but he has got to be jacked up. What a great job he did on that last lap. We got to look at it again, guys.
Let's take a look at the finish of the EasyCare 200 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Mike Skinner did not want Bobby Hamilton to get the outside of the racetrack. He knew how good he was, but here they are coming off turn 4. They're going to make contact.
Yes, they will. Mike Skinner moving up. Bobby Hamilton says, no, I'm moving down. Mike Skinner gets loose. Bobby Hamilton continues across the checkered stripe at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll take another look at the unbelievable finish. Mike Skinner He came across the line second sideways.
Completely sideways. You see the contact there. Mike goes around. He stays in the throttle to keep that truck from backing up into the outside wall. That's experience for you.
David Runeman in the NTN Bearing 17, a phenomenal finish, finishes third. It's Bobby Hamilton winning the EasyCare 200.
I wish my car was shaped like a truck. That looks fun.
Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Let's head right down to Victory Lane and Ray Dunlap.
Well, folks, this is what it's all about here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here comes Bobby Hamilton out of Beavis. 2 wins in 3 races for the Square D Dodge, and that's why there's a big crowd of people here today. Bobby, what an incredible show between you and Skinner on that last lap.
I knew when it come down to 3 to go, green, white, checkered, it was going to be exciting with Mike, and we knew he'd bring that back to the series, and same thing will go with Jack in the future. So I was a little worried because they've got a lot more experience in that than I do. I've only been through that. It was my second time since I've been in truck racing. So real excited for Square D and Cooper Tools, Lefkin, Jenkins & Jenkins, Dodge. I mean, the engineers have been backing us all winter and come across some really cool stuff. Jeff White, Ken, my engineers at the shop. I mean, it just goes on and on how much of a team effort this is. All the 18 bunch, the Dickies Dodge was good in happy hour. Got to see.
They finished 9th.
Okay, well, that's the top 10. We need to get him up a little better, but we've got some good notes to build on right now. And
here, step back just a little bit and take a look at this right here. What's going on? I mean, you guys were side by side coming to the line. Did you know that you had him beat?
No, I didn't know that I had him beat. He ran awful good up off the corner. And when he bumped me, I thought I was going to turn me, so I just went ahead and just held myself, and I think it just turned him. But this big day.
Congratulations. Bobby Hamilton gets his 2nd win in the last 3 races here. Let's check in with Wendy.
All right, Mike Skinner, you made Bobby Hamilton work for that.
I'll tell you what, he sure did. But you know, he had the strongest truck, and he showed it early in the runs, and long runs we could catch him. And I felt like I knew that, you know, our tire wear was just awesome on our little Tundra, and I knew that if it went long ways, we'd be okay. And that last caution just really cost us a lot because we were already starting to close in, and I thought we had a really good chance to win the race. But I just can't say enough about this Tundra. Man, 2nd race, come in here, and all of us qualified the way we did and ran up front all day and got a good finish out of this thing. And, you know, just great to be back in the Craftsman Truck Series. And I gotta take my hat off to Goodyear. Man, what a great tire today. This tire was awesome. Our tire wear was great all day. Just hopefully that they'll have half this kind of show tomorrow.
All right, Mike Skinner happy with the 2nd place run for the situation. Larry Mack came over the radio and said, we're tickled with this finish. We're going to win one, guys.
Well, when a new manufacturer enters NASCAR, people tend to sit up and take notice. So we would like to continue to shed light on this development with our Toyota Spotlight. David Runeman claimed the pole. There were 2 Toyotas on the front row to start this. Robert Huffman on the outside. Travis Quapple moved through the field, but a little bumping and banging going on, not only on the track, but on pit road. And then a phenomenal finish for Mike Skinner. He led 69 laps today. He had an unbelievable save with 9 laps to go. And then one of the most exciting finishes in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history. And Mike Skinner slides across the start-finish line, 2nd, after a phenomenal battle with Bobby Hamilton. Bobby Hamilton sits in victory lane, claiming his 2nd race in just 3 outings, 2003. Take a look at the unofficial results. A fantastic finish in just the 2nd race of the 2004 season. Bobby Hamilton claiming the top spot. Mike Skinner holding on to 2nd, and you see 3 Toyotas in the top 4.
All 4 manufacturers, however, represented in the top 10. You see Shane Mill with 6 along with Matt Crafton, those 2 Chevys.
Best career finish for Matt Crafton in 5th.
The 4 drivers that were involved in accidents today that were sent to the hospital, we still have not been updated on them, so make sure to tune in to Speed News tonight at 7 p.m. for the updates on all 4 of those drivers. Tina Gordon, Rick Crawford, Hank Parker Jr. involved in that, as well as Joey Clinton. We'll take a look at the unofficial point standings through 2 races. Carl Edwards out in front, but only by 1 point.
over last year's champion, Travis Kvapil. That's the 24th race in a row on a super speedway that Travis Kvapil finished on the lead lap.
The excitement will continue in 5 weeks. April 17th, we go to Martinsville Speedway for the Kroger 250.
Did you see the emotion in Bobby Hamilton when he got out of that truck? He almost started crying.
He couldn't talk anymore.
He couldn't speak. He just was spent.
We went through a gamut of emotions here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the first ever running for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed.